Welcome to the Bruins Benders Podcast, Season 4, Episode 4. Make it fast, make it urgent with Maddie and Smitty, brought to you on the Inside the Ring Podcast Network. InsideTheRink.com is your one-stop shop for all your NHL, AHL, and ECHL news, insight, and analysis. In this episode, we will discuss Jimmy Montgomery's comments about being too slow. The Bruins get a win in the home opener and rebound after their season opening loss. And Charlie McAvoy, is he worth the money? That's coming up in this episode right here. Hit the subscribe button on Inside the Ring's YouTube channel. All subscribers are eligible for the NHL jersey giveaway. Jersey of your choice from Fanatics, another winner selected in late October. And follow this QR code on your screen to purchase event tickets through Ticketmaster, to get tickets to your Bruins games and even some concerts right through Ticketmaster right here, and support the show. Follow each of us on X at Bruins Benders is the podcast X account, and then at Benders Smitty for Smitty, and at Mr. Matty Barry. And Smitty is 4 followers away from 1,000. Get on that. Go get at Benders Smitty right now. Put down your saltine crackers and go get him some followers right now.
Get me to 1,000. Crying out loud.
Yeah.
I feel underappreciated.
1K for Smitty coming up here tonight. Rapid review time starting with October the 8th, Tuesday night at Florida. Bruins come in against the defending Stanley Cup champions. It's banner night. You think the Bruins are ready for some revenge tour. They wanted a fist fight. Florida wanted a hockey game and won it 6-4.
Yeah, here's a rapid review. The Bruins showed up, or maybe they did not show up, and they sucked. Mm-hmm. The end.
The end. I mean, this was, from the get-go, this was a bloodbath of epic proportions. They get outshot, 14-2 maybe in the first period. They can't get the puck out of their own zone. They can't possess the puck past the red line. It was really, really pathetic for much of that first period. Turning the puck over, didn't seem to have an answer for the forecheck from Florida, who does return 8 of their top 9 forwards. So they were a cohesive unit. The Bruins were not. They have new players in different positions, and it showed. And the Bruins really didn't recover. A couple of late goals to make it look good, but it wasn't that close at all. And Joonas Korpisalo tried in the beginning, and then once a goal went in, he didn't look very good either. It was just not the type of start you wanted from the Bruins, particularly against that opponent.
No, it was not. And it was all about getting the puck out of their own zone and being able to withstand that forecheck, and they couldn't withstand the forecheck. I was just looking up on the box score. The Bruins defensemen combined had 11 giveaways. Wow. And that's probably being generous, that they probably left out a few.
Right.
11 giveaways. That's awful. Florida defensemen had 4, and Miklas had 3 of the 4. So
wow.
Yeah. Merkulov, not Miklas.
Wow. Right.
Merkulov had 3 of the 4. So, yeah. 5 of the Florida defensemen, 1 combined giveaway. The Bruins defensemen in total, 11. And that really was the story of the game. Bruins couldn't get out of their own end. Florida pressured them, suffocated them. And, Florida seemed to not have really any trouble at all getting out of their own zone, and generated a lot of offense and shoved it down the Bruins' throat pretty much. The Bruins had a slim glimmer of hope when they cut it to 2-1 with the shorthanded goal. And then Florida scores 2 quick ones right away, and that was pretty much the ball game. Florida's like 197,001 or something like that when they lead after 2 periods. I think it's some obscene number. It's like 69-3 or something like that in the last.
They don't lose leads
since Maurice has been there in the third period. Like they close games because they wear you down. They wear the defense down with the forecheck. And, they suffocate you and they don't let you breathe. And it's hard to come back when you can't get the puck out of your own zone. So, they've found a formula down there, and they have the right players to execute it, and the right coach, and they're a wagon right now for sure.
Interesting topic you just mentioned about sort of the game management, something that Montgomery talks about tonight after the Montreal game. He wasn't happy with the game management in the third against Montreal, even though the Bruins win the game. And Florida manages the game almost perfectly. So that's a big difference. Bruins have had a hard time the last couple of years
Yeah.
just finishing games, so giving up
Mhm.
leads and kind of white knuckling the game at the end. And there's been a lot of those occasions. Florida is different. The game's over when they're up in the third.
It is. It's completely Tale of Two Cities, pretty much.
Right.
Florida is 100%. They just lock you down, and that's it. And the Bruins don't manage the puck well. I think, and make bad decisions with it, bad line changes, whatever the case may be. And then it starts to snowball on you, and then you get the feeling that when you have a 2-goal lead, that you're going to lose or you're going to give up a goal. And let the other team back in it. And that happened to Boston last year all the time. How many goals did they give up last year with the extra skater on the other team? It was like 2 or 3 times more than anyone else in the league.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a surprise, like a ridiculously surprising number, much, much higher than anybody else. So they definitely need to figure some of that stuff out and kind of get that out of their system. I don't know how they do it, but they need to kind of find a way to close games out so that, you're able to maybe rest some of your big guns or whatever, and not have to fight tooth and nail for every single win. If you can close games out a little smarter and a little better, with a little better puck management, you might be able to, give some of those guys a little bit more of a break, and make them last throughout the season.
Yeah, and it was one part of this game was the fact that the Panthers continue to kind of bait the Bruins and get under their skin and get them off their game mentally. And Frederick talked about it, how he tried to drop the gloves with Tkachuk, and it looked like Tkachuk was going to go with him. And Frederick says Tkachuk asked him to go and then wouldn't drop the gloves, perhaps trying to sucker Frederick into a penalty. Frederick says, I didn't know guys did that. A little disrespectful to the game. And as the game began, you could see the Bruins wanted to stand up and kind of fight and show, look, the whole offseason, they've added size, they've added nastiness, they've added all the things that people say that they don't have enough of. It's almost like they wanted to prove it from the get-go, regardless of the hockey game. And the Panthers were just like, no, we're just playing hockey here. Like, the Panthers don't view the Bruins the way the Bruins view the Panthers. Like, the Panthers are like, this is like Maple Leafs Bruins when it comes to the Panthers. Like, Panthers have no intimidation when it comes to the Bruins. They think they're going to beat them. They know how to beat them. The Bruins have no answer. And that's kind of how it is. The Bruins are just chasing them in every aspect, it seems. In, roster construction, style of play, all of it. Like, they don't know how to do it. They don't know how to get even with the Panthers, don't know how to beat them. And it shows. And the Bruins really seem to think that they had the answer and they were going to show it opening night. And it was really the opposite.
Yeah, it's a big brother, little brother kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And it's the same way the Bruins chased Montreal for all those years, too. They could never find a way to beat Montreal. So it's just a similar type of thing where whether it's the styles don't match up or like you said, the Bruins trying to match the style, but they're behind because they don't have the same level of talent. Florida has guys that fit their system better than Boston has guys that fit their system or whatever the case may be. So, the Bruins have some work to do to catch up to Florida. And like you said earlier, Florida has 8 of 9 top 9 forwards returning. So they're cohesive. They played together. They know how to play together. And the Bruins are kind of still figuring it out. We talked about it on Benders post game live that, there's some new guys in the center positions for Boston that, they rely on the center position a lot in their defensive structure. So it's going to take the new guys a little bit of time to get really familiar and comfortable in the Boston system as far as their responsibilities in the defensive zone. So, the Bruins probably aren't that bad, but at the same time, it's worrisome going forward that, they still kind of haven't figured out a way to even keep it a level playing field.
Mm. Right. It's true. 3 games that night, and here are the TV ratings. Bruins Panthers gets 790,000 homes. Blues Kraken 348. Blackhawks Utah 522. So the Bruins and Panthers certainly a draw. Helps that the Bruins are the top market, biggest market in that group, and also in the 7:00 Eastern time slot. That helps too. But that's a marquee matchup now, Bruins Panthers, and will continue to be so. And then tonight actually in 10-10, Bruins in their home opener against Montreal, and they win it 6-4, same score. And the Bruins kind of jump out, as we talked about in Bender's post-game live, like the first shift, Marchand, Coyle, Georgii, the first 30 seconds, they jump on them. They draw a penalty. They don't score right away, but they kind of set the tone early on Montreal. And Montreal's a much different team, not nearly the defensive team, not nearly the skilled, talented team, not nearly the veteran team, experienced team, none of it. So this was probably like playing the JVs after playing the number 1 team in the world, in some regard. But the Bruins came out into their credit. After Montgomery talked about having some more urgency, the Bruins certainly had urgency from the start, led by the captain.
Yeah, I agree. I think that shift set the tone, and then I thought the fourth line kind of picked up on that. Fourth line was excellent tonight. Koepke with a goal and 2 assists, Kastelic with a couple of goals, Beecher with an assist. They played hard, they played physical. I thought McAvoy was really good tonight. He looked like the Charlie McAvoy that I've wanted to see for the last year plus. Still a couple of blips, but overall, pretty good. Had a great goal on the power play, which he had 12 goals last year. He only had 1 on the power play.
Yeah.
So if he's going to score, if he's going to shoot, shot mentality, he looked like he had that in his last preseason game too, which is a good sign to see that it's not kind of going away and he's still doing it. If he keeps that up all year and he can score, a handful of goals on the power play, that's going to go a long way to kind of opening up the wings and maybe some plays for Pastrnak and Marchand, and then Elias Lindholm in the bumper, I think is really smart. So I'm looking for better things this year from the power play overall. But McAvoy was good. I thought Elias Lindholm was good tonight too. So a lot of positives from Boston. And like you said, it is Montreal and they're terrible defensively. But a win is a win is a win, as our old former high school basketball coach used to say. So, we'll take it and move on. I didn't love the third period. Montreal kind of outshot them, and I thought overall, it got a little scary there for a second until Kastelic scored a second. So still some stuff to clean up there defensively and on the back end, but a nice win overall.
It was, and it was necessary for them to get the W, obviously, after that loss to Florida. And then Jeremy Swayman comes in. He gives up 3 even strength goals. Couple of them really not his fault. He did make some sparkling saves, probably still getting his legs back, didn't have any training camp. It was a long stretch of negotiations on his mind. So a lot of those factors. But I think he'll be fine. Much better feeling having him in there than Korpisalo right now, obviously, for sure. Mark Kastelic with 2 goals. One was a wicked snipe coming off the half wall.
Mm-hmm.
Elias Lindholm has 4 points in the first 2 games. He had 3 points tonight against Montreal. He had a great tip, high slot. That was a beauty too. So that was the kind of the Lindholm that they expect and want and need for sure on this team. So that was good. And then, we talked about Riley Tufte and what he brought to the table, and Cole Koepke in 7 minutes and 20 seconds had a goal and 2 assists. And continues to have a really good start to the season, right from the preseason right into right now. And that's, 2 big guys on that line. People have questioned why they're playing and why Fabian Lysell's not getting a chance, why Georgii Merkulov's not getting a chance. But, at least for tonight, they proved that it's probably the right move for now.
Yeah, I would say so. And I think, Koepke's certainly proven that he deserves to stay in the lineup. To me, it's the Max Joneses of the world, that maybe you should be thinking about taking out. I don't love Morgan Geekie on the second line, really. I don't think he's shown much there. I'd rather see him more in a third line role, especially once Patrick comes back. So if Patrick could slide into that second line right wing and you drop Geekie down, I think that's something a little better. And then you still got Tyler Johnson hanging around Warrior Ice Arena, biding his time until someone gets hurt or whatever. But I think I'd like to see maybe him slide into that third line to give it a little bit more of an offensive slant and rotate the guys in and out on the fourth line that are your bangers and speed guys. And if they drop off, then you just replace them and kind of rotate through that way and create a competition down there so that it's all about, the energy and so forth. And, you kind of take it from there.
Bruins with 29 shots on net, 20 hits, so they played more physically. Nikita Zadorov had a really good hit earlier in the game too, and obviously their size isn't, but as you said in the post game live, you got to be able to skate to catch them, to hit them. So again, and Monty talked about being slow after game one. They looked slow throughout the game. And he made another comment in the press conference today. I think we have the audio in the beginning of this audio that Montgomery talks about again. They played faster. So there's been a couple of times now already in the season where Montgomery's talked about speed and whether or not they have enough.
There may have been stuff to clean up, but was that what you'd like to see as far as heaviness on the forecheck and the work in the offensive zone?
Yeah, we also want to win a lot more battles. I thought we won a lot more battles, all 3 zones, and playing faster, along with what you said. That heaviness is, I think we can see what kind of team we can be. We've got to become a better checking team and understand game management a little bit better. I didn't think our game management was exemplary in the third, but it's hard to win in this league. We got our first win. We just keep building.
How much of a lift does it give you when your fourth line has a night like that tonight?
Oh, it was huge. I don't think Kaslik scored 45 or 48 goals in junior hockey. So it's something that he can do. And it was just nice to see how hard they went to the net. Like the Koepke goal, that's Johnny Beecher taking it hard to the net. And the first Kaslik's first goal, Koepke originally took the puck hard to the net, which created that offensive zone time. So it's something that we feel that with the speed and the size of our team that we want to do more of. It's not easy to do, but that was a good sign of it.
I know in a perfect world you'd like.
Yeah, so that speaks to, again, and we'll talk about a little bit later on in the chirps about kind of the philosophy this year, getting bigger, getting heavier, and if that's actually a little overblown, or if it's just about being heavy and big, or is it about being tough and being nasty, but not backing down, being aggressive? Those are more of the things I'd like to see rather than just this guy's 6'5".
Yeah, I think that's really what it comes down to is the toughness, not necessarily the size or even the physicality. I would like to see some more physicality, intimidation out of the back end and the fourth line, but you're not necessarily going to get that every night. It's the NHL. you can't throw 300 hits and have them all be huge hits. It's just not the way that it works. But there were signs of it tonight. You said Zadorov had a big hit. McAvoy had a big hit tonight. I think even Elias Lindholm hit somebody, knocked somebody down in a corner with a decent hit, and Marchand caught somebody too early on. So there was some moments out there for the Bruins as far as that goes, but overall, I think they still want to possess the puck, but I think with the speed maybe of some of these bigger guys, they think they can protect the puck and get it to the net and drive the net and crash for rebounds. And I think maybe that's what Montgomery's kind of alluding to, is he'd like to see more of that. And I saw some of that actually in some of the cycle plays and some of the down low plays. They seem to be going and making plays to get the puck to the front of the net instead of kind of always going back to the point with it, which was a little refreshing for me. Hopefully that continues. And I also saw them when it did get back to the point, they weren't just firing it back down the boards. It was more like a Carolina system where when it got back to the point, the defensemen were ready to shoot and the forwards were crashing.
Right.
I love, get the puck back to the net. Don't shoot it around the boards. You're just basically giving it away. If you're going to shoot it down low again, get it towards the net. It doesn't have to necessarily be on net because you don't want to get it blocked. But if you can get it to the net with guys going to the net, that creates a little chaos, and maybe you bang in some rebounds, and maybe that's a way that you can add to your offense without, a bunch of talent.
Seven Chirps is brought to you by Lops Brewing. Lobster Brewing and Tasting Room in downtown Woonsocket, Rhode Island, specializing in small batch ales and lagers. Use the code SPORTS to get 10% off your online order at lopsbrewing.com. Also follow them on social media at Lops Brewing for new beers and events. And we will be Bruins Benders Bar Down Live. The podcast will be at Lops Brewing in Woonsocket, Rhode Island on October the 26th. Podcast at 5 p.m. Watch party as the Bruins take on the Maple Leafs at 7 p.m. The Bar Down New England IPA will be flying around the place.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also a Halloween party.
Yeah. So there's going to be a podcast. There's going to be drunk people. There's going to be beer. There's going to be hockey. I mean, sounds like a pretty good night to me. So I'm going to be there. Mm-hmm. You're going to be there. I think the fans should come. I think the fans should turn out. I think the fans should be there. Come down, say hello to us, meet us. We'd be happy to, shoot the shit with you, have a beer with you.
Sure.
After the podcast is done, and hopefully we'll watch the Bruins beat up on the Maple Leafs and win the game too.
Yeah, absolutely. So get down. We should get some Bruins Benders koozies. Put that on the list.
Yeah. Producer Connor, can you put that on the list?
Yeah, put that on the list. Koozies, yeah. All right, chirp one. Charlie McAvoy plays much better in game 2 against Montreal than he did against Florida.
Mm-hmm.
More of what you'd like to see from him. But overall, is Charlie McAvoy worth $9.5 million per year?
This is tough because I'm more of a McAvoy guy than both
you are.
And producer Connor are, but I'm gonna say no. I think he's probably slightly overpaid.
Yes.
Especially coming off his play of the last 2 years. Last year I didn't think he was very good at all. I thought he had a down year.
Yeah.
I thought a few years back he was pretty good. Plus 29, only 7 goals, but 52 points, I think.
Look at all those plus minuses and then +4 last year. Yeah.
That's what I mean. I thought last year he wasn't himself. He was a little too running around. I think he was trying to be more physical, so his penalty minutes went up.
Yeah. They did.
He just wasn't himself last year, and I didn't love his year. But I think I'd like to see him get back to, and I've said this before, get back to the Charlie McAvoy that was under Bruce Cassidy, where he was really, really solid defensively, one of the best shutdown defensemen in the game, and then was a 45 to 50 point guy. I'd be fine with that. Is that worth $9.5 million? Probably not, but that's the type of player that I want to see again. I want to see the shutdown defensive guy, the stout, strong shutdown defensive guy. And then I want to see the offense kind of tick up a little bit. Now, if he's shooting like he's shooting now and continues that, he could score 15 goals. And if he does that, he's probably, 55, 60 points. And if he plays the strong defense, I'll take that. I'll take that every single year because, that's a top 10 defenseman in the league. Is he going to win a Norris with that? No, he won't ever win a Norris with that.
No.
But he can be a top, he can be a top 5 defenseman, not a top 3, but he would be on the outside of that in the top 10 to top, 3-ish. If he plays more controlled and within himself and shoots the puck more, which he's starting to do this year. So we'll see how that all pans out.
Yeah, I mean, he's not Cale Makar, but
no,
he's on the level of, when he's going well, of like an Adam Fox. I mean, he can be closer to Adam Fox than he can be to Makar.
Sure.
But yeah, in that top 5 to top 8 range, and if he's there and he's playing solidly, I'm okay with that. Still top 8, still up there. Is he where he's probably more of an $8.5 million defenseman than 9.5? It's probably, we're probably just counting peanuts here, but
right.
He's probably slightly overpaid. But when he's on and he's doing well and he's playing 25 minutes per game, then he's worth quite a bit of money. Sure. And he's a fire hydrant. He's a rugged. He plays hurt. He's he's durable. So I think that just need more from him. We blamed it somewhat on Jim Montgomery.
Yeah.
That's just us sort of thinking that that's the case, but it looks eerily coincidental that once Montgomery became the coach, McAvoy changed some. And we're thinking that it's Montgomery saying we need more from you. And then Neely had the comments about he's Ray Bourque when he's not.
No.
Like, for God's sakes, don't ever say that.
Right.
So now McAvoy takes that stuff to heart and says, I'm going to go out and be Ray Bourque. Well, for Christ's sake, he had 1,500 points or whatever. He's like one of the top 3 defensemen in the history of the game.
Right.
Like, he's not Ray Bourque.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have to be.
Nobody's Ray Bourque.
No, nobody's Ray Bourque, but Ray Bourque, Bobby Orr, and
Like, I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword that McAvoy kind of grows up, within the Bruins organization where they've had arguably two of the top 5 defensemen of all time. And then you're getting compared to them, which is completely unfair. But, he needs to kind of just be himself and settle into, what he does well. And that's really good defense, pretty good offense. And if he can flip the power play, like he's done so far this year, and I know it's still early, but he has 2 goals in 2 games. If he can, shoot a little bit more and on the power play and kind of turn that into a strength rather than a weakness, you got a really good player there.
For sure. All right, Trip 2. Why Cole Koepke and not Fabian Lysell? And I think Cole has answered our question tonight.
Cole did answer. And obviously this question was written before the game.
Right.
Because Cole Koepke had a goal and 2 assists tonight, and Fabian Lysell's in Providence. But I think maybe the question is why Max Jones over Fabian Lysell, or why was Riley Tufte signed? Why were some of these guys signed when you had a few young guys, Lysell, Merkulov, that could potentially make your team? So to me, like you really didn't give those guys, I don't think, a fair opportunity, because I think Lysell especially, I didn't think Merkulov was great in the preseason, but Lysell, I thought, started slow, wasn't great early on, but came on towards the end of camp and had a goal, and he still wasn't really playing with anybody. So, if you give him the opportunity to play with some good players, maybe he makes some plays. And he's also dynamic offensively. He has speed. He has a pretty good shot. So, that adds another dimension to your team that maybe you don't have otherwise. Pasternak's dynamic, obviously, but it'd be nice to have more than one of those guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think the size thing, the infatuation with size might be part of it too. Like, and there's a trust thing with Lysell and
Yes.
all younger players.
Yes.
Like they think the season is going to end if a rookie makes a mistake. Like they're so petrified.
Mhm.
Merkulov had it last year with his four games and 6 minutes per game. Mason Lowry had it tonight where he gets benched after one bad game. He gets immediately benched. I'm telling you what, if Hampus Lindholm was a -4 or 3 in game 1, he wouldn't have been benched tonight. Like that's Brandon Carlo, who's looked like doggy doo-doo. He wouldn't be benched tonight. But for some reason, they just have this really hard time with rookies. It's really a miracle that Matt Poitras's gotten the opportunities he has before he got hurt, because typically they just don't give. Now, Poitras has real high IQ. They really needed a center. He has a really good skill set. He's defensively responsible, even for a young kid.
And he wins battles.
He can play wing and center. Like there's a lot to like about Poitras and a lot that they trust. But for whatever reason, they just don't trust Lysell enough right now, or Merkulov, who I'm really concerned about. I mean, he's going to give up on the Bruins pretty soon. I mean, at some point, he's almost 25. Like at some point, he'd be like, Jesus, what do I have to do down here to play? But it's about consistency, and you've talked about it a million times. Consistency keeps you in the league. Lack of consistency takes you out, and that's really what it is. And Lysell's been too inconsistent down on the farm, and also up here for the short time he was in preseason, too inconsistent, and they just don't know what they're going to get. They want to be able to know what they're going to get. Yeah. So that's why I like Danton Heinen. Like they knew what they were going to get night in and night out. So
that's why Tyler Johnson's still hanging around Warrior Ice.
Yeah.
They know what he'll give them on a night-to-night basis.
Yeah, and they'd rather that than to think, well, Lysell might give us this, but he might give us this, and it might drive us nuts. So, Lysell has to learn that, and he has to go down and be motivated to do it night in and night out, shift in, shift out, do what they want him to do defensively, 200 foot, all of it. Like he has to do that. And Mujanel down there was really hard on him last year at times. He said things in the media about Lysell and Merkulov about defense and about bringing it every night and what he needed to see from them. He wasn't pulling any punches. He was kind of like Cassidy in the media. So, they need to do that.
Yeah, their away from the puck play needs to improve. That's what it comes down to, is their play away from the puck, because most of the time you don't have the puck. Like right.
That's very true.
You don't
especially
have
a winger.
So you don't have it like 90% of the time. So you need to be much better away from the puck if you're gonna make this team, especially.
Chirp 3. Are the Panthers completely in the heads of the Bruins? From players to management.
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
Yep. They are. I mean, the whole offseason was about beating the Panthers in a way that they thought that they could. And now I'm not sure that they did that right. So now I don't know where you go from here. Like, I just don't think that they thought it was heavy, but it's not just heavy, it's toughness. It's not putting up with their nonsense and shenanigans, and it's battling through, and it's, getting to the, they allowed Sam Bennett and Rodriguez and other guys to get to the net at will. Like their defense, the Bruins defense is a terrible matchup for the Florida forwards.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the reason they went out and got Zadorov. They thought he could affect some of those matchups, which, maybe over time, that will happen. It didn't happen on Tuesday night, and I don't know if it's going to happen Monday afternoon. We'll have to wait and see. But it is a bad matchup, and I'm thinking about it and trying to rack my brain on what could the Bruins do differently in order to beat this team? And I'm not sure I can come up with something, because I think Florida's more talented overall. I think their defense plays you hard. And I'm not sure Bruins forwards have an answer for the Florida defense, because they have some big guys back there with long reach that cause like Mikkola and then Forsling is just he's a defense, like rushes go to die. Like, you can't get the puck by the guy
Right.
when you carry it in, and it doesn't seem like the Bruins want to dump the puck in behind their D and go get it. Are they fast enough to dump the puck in and go get it? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see as far as that goes too. So I don't know. I feel like maybe the Bruins should just have one of those games where if Florida doesn't want to fight, you just make them fight. Like, you just grab a guy and start beating him up, and you'll take a penalty and maybe you'll lose the game 8-0 or whatever.
Right.
But if you need to get that out of your system, like, don't ask guys, just start punching guys.
Just right.
Monday,
make it a bloodbath.
Yeah,
and then be done with it.
If you're gonna make it a bloodbath, just everybody drop your gloves right away. Grab a guy and start hitting him. Don't wait for him to square up.
No.
Don't, ask him if he wants to go. Don't tap him on the shin pads. Just grab the guy and start beating him up until he turtles. Yeah. And then if he turtles, then you have that to hold over him. Right. Say, yeah, we came after you and you turtled like a bunch of bitches. Mm-hmm. So, like, if you're going to make it a bloodbath, make it a fucking bloodbath. Sorry, John. Yeah, you may lose the game, but maybe you'll get back your competitive edge. And maybe you'll take a little edge away from them, and you can be on the front foot, and they will have to respond to you. After that.
Show them how different you are.
Yeah,
show them
if that's what it's about, and that's what you spent the whole off season doing. And you still feel like you haven't been able to show them this new side of how you want to play. Make it that.
Yep.
Make it that. Go out on Monday afternoon and just start beating people up, running people, whatever like have 200 penalty minutes. I don't give a shit. Like if that's what you need to get out of your system to feel like you need to show them something, do it. And lose the game. In the grand scheme of things, it's one game out of 82. So it doesn't matter. But beat them up and get on the front foot, and hopefully, that will give you a little bit of an edge, or give you some confidence against them, and maybe knock them down a peg.
Yeah, that's not a bad point. I mean, the other night they're waiting for someone to drop their gloves, and it just wasn't happening. Like, Bennett's dirty. Yeah. Chuck is an idiot. Like, they're just being how they are and getting under your skin. And then kind of laughing at me. How many times is Kachuk gonna start to kind of bait you into something and then turn his head and like smirk as you're face washing him? Like, come on, dude! Like, punch him in the head. Like, absolutely take him to the ice and start whacking him.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Make him fight back.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. I mean, if you're gonna do it, just show, hey, we're different this year. We got all this nastiness. We're gonna be nasty, and now we're gonna do it. And then, hey, if we lose tonight, we lose tonight. But we're sending this message to you that we're not backing down anymore. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's the right thing to do.
I don't know. I mean, nothing else has worked, so they need to do something.
And here's the other thing. I rewatched the first period because we were talking about the zone exits.
Yeah.
And so I watched it to kind of see if I could see, like, what might work or what was open or what they were trying to do. And I'm telling you, the very first shifts, like 20 seconds into the game, Zadorov has the puck to the left of the goaltender, peeks on the other side of the ice, wide open. Mm-hmm. All Zadorov has to do is back off the back wall indirect to peek, and he has all sorts of space. What does he do? He tries to rip it ahead to someone who's not really available, icing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they did that over and over. They were just looking north-south, like, let's go north. And if they just reversed it one time, that the guy would have all sorts of ice. So, and it happened many times. And I'll tell you this, in the first 6 minutes of the game, there was one D-to-D pass. One. So, and I know that's Claude Julien and that's boring and that's whatever. But if you need to do it to not get your ass reamed, then you need to play that way against them.
Yeah, I just feel like when you have the puck below your own goal line and their team is back waiting for you, you're not going to get a quick up in transition.
No,
so just don't turn the fucking puck over in your own end. Sorry, John.
Right.
Go D to D. Go D to D after you go D to D. Do it twice in a fucking row.
And then they rope-a-dope him. And then you find some space.
Maintain puck possession.
Right.
Be smarter with the puck. Yeah. I mean, Brandon Carlo's treating the puck right now like it is a grenade. He is just like, let me get this off my stick as quick as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So
we've said that about him, is that when he doesn't play for a while,
yes,
when he has some time off, he gets as rusty as anyone I've ever seen in my life. Like when he plays 20 games in a row, he's friggin' Larry Robinson. But when he takes a couple nights off, he's Connor Clifton. Like it's unbelievable. Like when he has some time off, whenever he comes back from injury, he looks terrible every single time. Mm-hmm. Like I've never seen a guy get rusty like he does every time he has some time off or doesn't play a ton. Yeah. So in the preseason, when you're back and forth, you're not playing a lot, and all of a sudden you go into the regular season. I could have predicted this 2 weeks ago. Like this was going to happen with Carlo, and he's a very good player. Like, so he gets a bad rap because of this stuff, but that's just who he is. He can't miss time.
No,
he can't, or he's back to being luggage again.
Yeah, I mean, he was probably their best. I mean, we said it last year, but he was their best defenseman in the playoffs.
He was very good, but he had played all season long without injury. Yeah. Every other night, like he was in a rhythm.
Exactly,
he needs to be in a rhythm.
He does. So, he does.
Doesn't work if he's not. So right now he's not in a rhythm.
No, he isn't.
All right, Chirp 5. What is the infatuation with Justin Brazeau? We talked about this. Someone asked me in the post-game live about Justin Brazeau, and I put out that we would like some changes when Patra comes back.Maybe Tyler Johnson in, take Brazeau out. And the amount of people who thought that it was complete blasphemy. I think someone used that term in a tweet response, that we would ever take Justin Brazeau out like he was Cam Neely or John LeClaire. And the fact of the matter is he has 5 goals in his career. He's almost 27 years old, a journeyman AHLer who his highest goal scoring total in a season was 18 in the AHL. And we're acting like he's a 50 goal scorer cometh. And I'm telling you, he's fine, but he is a 13th forward to the nth degree. He is a borderline NHL player. He is a guy that you can throw in for 6 or 8 games. He'll get in front of the net like he did against Montreal, maybe make some things happen, has some decent hands around the net that can play below the goal line a little bit. Great. That's all great. I'm not saying he's terrible. I'm not saying that he shouldn't play ever, but I'm saying that he shouldn't be on. If he's on the third line all season long for you, you're not going far.
It's true. 100% true. I agree with you 100% on that.
I'm sorry.
I don't really understand. And like, here's the thing, like, so Patra's healthy now. Who are you going to take out? Who are you going to take out?
Yeah. If Patra's healthy, I put him on that second line with Coyle and Marchand.
And so Geekie moves down. Are you going to take Geekie out and leave Brazeau in? Is that what you're doing?
You move Geekie down.
This is what my point is like when better players like Patra come back and are healthy, who comes out of the lineup? Who are you taking out of the lineup? If it's not Justin Brazeau, who's coming out? Cole Koepke had a goal and 2 assists tonight. Is he coming out of the lineup?
No.
Is he your new favorite player?
Kastelic had 2 goals. He's not coming out.
Yeah, he's not coming out. So who's coming out of the lineup? Beecher kills penalties. He's not coming out of the lineup. So who's coming out of the lineup? It's Justin Brazeau. Yeah. That's who's coming out of the lineup.
He's an extra forward.
Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, let's temper this, folks.
Please.
He's fine. He's good at what he does. It's a great story. Undrafted kid, comes up, has a hot finish to the regular season, and then a pretty good playoff for the Bruins. last year. Fantastic. But he's not an everyday NHL player at this point in time. He just isn't. He doesn't have the foot speed. He can do things when he gets in the offensive zone, but besides that, he's not great defensively. He's not really a hitter. He can protect the puck, but he's not really a physical presence.
No.
He's just a big guy who can hold on to pucks, and he'll bang if he can get there, but he can't get there half the time. So let's not pretend, he's, Cam Neely 2.0. Okay. And just, let's be happy when he gets in the lineup and chips in. But there's other guys that we need in the lineup if the Bruins want to go further along in the playoffs here.
Yeah, people were talking about him like he was irreplaceable and that he was like a top 9 forward on the team. If that's the case, you're not very good. Like this, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So, again, nice story. And if he can put a goal in here or there for the next 3 or 4 weeks while you figure shit out, fine. But at the end of the day, you're a much better team if he's not a regular guy on that. And you really can't put him on the fourth line because that's got to be a forechecking, digging, grinding line. So if he's on the third line, you're not good enough. And if he's on the fourth line, that's not the right role. So I don't know what to tell you. Like, just whatever. Chirp 6. Monty makes a comment after the game saying the team looks slow. As we heard, he also said that they played faster against Montreal in the clip. Are we sure that Monty agrees with roster construction and infatuation with the size movement? This is something that Felger and Maz talked about today. And I almost said I said out loud, Felger is in my head. He stole my friggin' point that I'm going to pay attention now after every press conference when they lose, how many times he mentions slow or pace or that type of thing. And the more he does, then the more I'm going to think that he doesn't totally agree with it and that it's almost a built-in excuse if they decide not to extend him.
Interesting. I don't think it's necessarily that he doesn't agree with it. I think he thinks their pace of play is too slow. I don't think it's necessarily foot speed because I think he thinks some of the bigger guys they got in are fast. He did mention, the way Koepke took the puck to the net and Beecher took the puck to the net. So I think he's okay with that. What I think he's talking about is more about their IQ and how they play, how quickly they transition pucks, and if they can get pucks in the right spots and use whatever speed they do have to go in and get them, and kind of their IQ, like they're thinking the game too slowly, not necessarily foot speed too slow.
Do you think that that they would ever consider firing Monty mid-year? And 2, what are the odds of him being extended at the end of the year?
I think that they would fire him during the year if they were on a big losing streak.
Okay. So they were threatening not to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they would have to be like they would have to fall out of it. Yeah. They would have to fall out of it. If there was still a threat to be in it, I think he would stick around because I don't think in general, I don't think the Jacobs like to fire people.
No, I don't think so.
People hang around forever.
They do.
It's really only when playoffs are threatened or missed that they fire people. That's when O'Connell,
like Dave Lewis,
Lewis, Chiarelli, like everybody. Right. It was when they fell out of the playoffs.
Right.
So I don't think they would do it unless there was like a really bad situation and the Bruins fell out of it. Okay. As far as the extension goes, that's interesting to me because I'm not sure that they'll do it in season now. Just because I think they want to see, I think the management wants to see how it's going to play out. Mm-hmm. I think they want to see it if and hopefully when they make it into the playoffs, how they do. And if it's another first round exit, I don't know if he's coming back. I think it'll be like a mutual agreement to part ways kind of a thing. Where the Bruins are like, we're going to go in a different direction. We just don't think you can get us over the top. And he's like, you gave me 12 fourth line guys. Like, how am I supposed to play the style that I told you I wanted to play with 12 fourth line guys? So
I'm going with, if I had to guess, if I had to put money on it, he doesn't get extended at the end of the year.
So do you think they're going to lose early in the playoffs?
I think they're going to lose early in the playoffs,
and
potentially first round,
and he's done.
Maybe second. I think he's done. I think if they were really confident in him and what he's doing with the team, they would have extended him already.
I mean, that's a valid point.
They absolutely would have, because you just said that they don't like to fire people. I think they would have. They extended Sweeney, under the radar. When people thought that he might go, or they were up in the air about him, and they extended him. I think I think that he will not be extended. I don't know who the replacement's going to be. I hope it's somebody else, like it's someone from outside. I hope it's not Jay Leach or friggin', oh my God. Like, I hope it's someone that is completely different, aggressive style, like this type of like Florida, Carolina type style. And they start integrating the younger, like when Duran and these guys come in and they really get like a forechecking style going on. I hope it's that type of guy. I am guessing that they don't, unless he gets to the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm going to say Eastern Conference Finals or he's gone.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that's, I don't know if I would say that's correct, but I would say you might be onto something there. And producer Connor's stirring it up here because he said Leach came in this offseason, no new contract. It's interesting.
Yeah, it could be Jay Leach. I mean, but again, I mean, do you want Jay Leach?
No, I don't.
No, I want someone who's going to come in and have an aggressive style. And, I really question whether or not Carberry was the guy. If Spencer Carberry was the guy, he got something out of Washington that no one ever thought he'd get.
Yeah.
I thought that team stunk.
Yeah.
And they made the playoffs. And I thought, he in hindsight, I think he would have been the guy. But I don't know. It's very interesting because of his regular season record and all that people keep throwing that at me. It doesn't mean dick. It doesn't mean anything really. Like there's been guys who have been fired during cup runs.
Yeah.
There's been guys who have had a pretty good couple regular seasons and fell flat in the playoffs and get fired. Like that's how hockey is.
Yeah. Regular season doesn't mean anything to me.
No.
Like, I
8
mean,
teams in your conference make the friggin' playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of teams make it. That's why it's playoff success that matters to me. I mean, we're from Boston, like you're supposed to win here. Like that, if you're not trying to win, like what the hell is the point? So like if you do well in the regular season and then you choke it out in the playoffs, like what the hell's the point of that?
Yeah.
Like great. Like you made my winter more bearable, but then come spring, you shit the bed. Like
what if you lose to Florida for a third time? You lose to Florida a third time.
If they lose to Florida for a third time, he should be fired.
He's gone.
He should be.
You can't figure it out, dude. So you're gone.
We talked about this after the Florida game. They haven't made an adjustment yet on the breakout. Like you talked about it. You watched the first period for 6 minutes. No D to D passing. Like that's got to be an adjustment. That's got to be a coaching point.
Part of the reason why low rise sucked is you kept giving it to him like up the half wall, and he kept getting caved in, like he has nowhere to go with the puck.
Right.
Like that happened over and over and over and over again.
I mean, we've talked about it ad nauseum at this point. It's like you have to make some kind of adjustment, whether it's going D to D so that you can possess the puck, whether the center comes down low or the weak side winger drops. Whatever it is, you need more outlets to be able to pass the puck somewhere. You have to change your breakout against that team because you have not been successful breaking the puck out. Plain and simple. And they're stubborn about it, it seems, and they won't change what they're doing.
No.
So if you lose to that team again and you don't make any kind of adjustments and it's just same old, he has to be gone.
He has to go.
Because it's like you're an idiot. It's like you're banging your head against the wall. You do the same thing over and over and you expect a different result.
Right. Because management got the players. Management got the players they think are the remedy. Like they got the players. They got the nastiness. They got the size. Management did what they think they needed to do.
Right.
If the coach doesn't win again, then the coach goes.
Yeah.
Like, so it's all really going to come down to that. There's going to be no extension until they find out what this thing is. And if Toronto wins the division and they play Florida in the first round, like that's just heading for 3 in a row and you're gone.
Mm-hmm.
It is. I mean, how can he survive if they lose to Florida a third time in the playoffs? He can't. That would be asinine to bring him back again.
Yeah.
But Chirp 7, are the Bruins giving their young players enough of a chance to work through mistakes? And here's another thing. Jim Montgomery's brought in because, everybody, they were saying like Bruce Cassidy hated the young guys, but Jim Montgomery's going to treat them much better. Oh, really? Like, really?
Players coach.
Still happening.
He's a players coach unless you're a young guy.
Unless you're young.
And then he's not a players coach.
No.
I don't know. I don't know if that's a Jim Montgomery thing or an organizational thing. I really don't.
Organizational.
I think so too. I just don't think that they're willing to let young guys kind of grow at the NHL level and make mistakes. They just don't seem to be willing to give away NHL wins with young guys making mistakes. And I feel like you kind of have to, like, if you want those guys to turn into responsible two-way guys, they have to learn at the NHL level. Playing in Providence and
scoring 30 goals every year.
30 goals or whatever is not doing it's not helping anyone. They're not learning anything down there. They have to get to the NHL level and they have to make some mistakes. And maybe it'll cost you a game here and there. But they'll be better for it, I think, in the long run. Your team will be better for it in the long run. And that's kind of what they need to do, in my opinion, to develop these guys. It's like they stunted the growth because where's the confidence to make a play if if I put it there and I turn it over, I'm benched. So even if that might be the right play, if it goes wrong, so say Lowry has the puck in the low corner and he makes a slick little move and he gives a backhand feed to the low circle and somebody steals it, or it goes under the stick of the guy who's standing there right into somebody in the slot and they score and you lose. He may have made the right play to the guy that was open, but the play didn't work. And then he gets benched because he made a mistake and they scored a goal against you. What does that teach him? Doesn't teach him anything. It's going to make him more skittish to make the same correct play the next time because he got punished because it ended up in their net, even though maybe it was the right play to do, right play to make.
Right.
So you got to let those guys grow, especially creative players. Like Potter's going to make mistakes. Lysell's going to make mistakes. I mean, Jesus Christ, you watch Pastrnak and Marchand. I mean, people were over him last year. Yeah. Oh, he turns the puck over, more than anyone in the league, Pastrnak. Well, he's got the puck a lot, and he also scores 60 goals, which you don't fucking see very often.
Right.
So, you got to give creative guys a little bit of slack and a little bit of opportunity to make plays. Like, they'll make some mistakes, and it may cost you games, but you gotta, that comes with the territory with guys who can maybe do things that other players can't do. You gotta live with it sometimes. And
what was that song? You take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have the facts of life.
Yeah.
There it is. The facts of life.
It
You
is.
know what? You know what's also a facts of life is this offer from DraftKings. DraftKings Sportsbook is Boston's hometown sportsbook. It's live right here in Massachusetts. Bet local on all your favorite sports from the comfort of your own home with DraftKings. To celebrate, all new customers will receive up to $200 in bonus bets when you sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook using code ITR. You can now bet local on money line, spreads, props, and more with one of America's top-rated sportsbooks. That's DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and sign up with the code ITR to get up to $200 in bonus bets to use. Now that mobile sports betting is live in Massachusetts, that's code ITR, and it's only at DraftKings Sportsbook.
If your loved one is experiencing problems with gambling, call 800-327-5050 or visit helplinema.org to speak with a trained specialist, free and confidentially 24/7. Must be 21 plus. Physically present in Mass. Eligibility restrictions apply. Subject to regulatory licensing requirements. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as free bets. Terms at DraftKings.com/MA.
All right, a beauty. And the beauty, these first two games, I'm going to give it to newcomer Mark Kastelik.
Gonna love you, eh? They're gonna be loving you from dawn until dusk.
Kastelik in the first game against Florida, Judge takes a little bit of a run at a guy kind of from the side, and then AJ Greer kind of jumps him and but sets the tone a little bit there. I kind of like how he plays. And then, tonight against Montreal, a wicked snipe, 2 goals. And as Monty said, he scored a bunch of goals in juniors. So he does have a little bit of that in him. And if he can be, a 15-goal guy and a guy who sets the tone and can stand up for teammates and sort of brings that attitude, then that's a really good get for $830,000 or whatever he's making.
I love the guy. I love the way he plays. I think he's going to be a fan favorite by the end of the year. And I think I'll say it right now. Hot take. You're looking at the 7th player award winner.
Ooh,
Mark Kastelik.
Okay.
He's stealing that shit. He's going to take it.
Okay.
It's going to be Mark Kastelik's award to lose.
Okay.
The fans are going to love this guy. He's going to be a cult hero here, especially if he scores 15 goals. If he scores 15 goals, he's going to be not a cult hero. He'll be just a flat out hero.
Right. Right. Do you think DraftKings does DraftKings has a 7-player award on there? Probably not.
No, I wish they did.
Yeah.
Because I would throw some money down on
right now.
Mr. Mark Kastelik.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So another beauty. How about this guy? Ivan, the first player in NHL history with 2 first names, well, 2 the same names, to play in the league for Colorado. And I believe he got a point in the game as well. So Ivan, gotta love that.
Ivan.
I mean, Jesus Christ.
Ivan. Wow. When your parents have you and they're like looking through the book, the name book, and they're like, getting, looking at it, and they're like, hey, what do you think we should name him? You know what? Let's just stick with Ivan. All these other names suck.
Yeah. Do you think it's Ivan, or is it like Ivan?
It's Ivan. Is Ivan Ivan?
Or is it Ivan?
Ivan?
All right. Ivan.
At least it's not Ivan. At least it's not Ivan Jr. Because that would have been like a double whammy.
Well, I don't know if it was the same. I think it was the same guy, but I think when he was in juniors or something. And I don't know if there's any way to confirm this, but is his middle name Ivan too? Like
Ivan?
Like I saw a graphic and it was Ivan was on the graphic. Like, I don't know if his middle name is actually Ivan as well.
Wow.
That would make it even better.
Right.
But our good friend, Robert Chalmers, his Twitter handle is Ivan. So he's aware. He's aware of this.
He is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Must be his favorite player.
I think so.
Who knows?
All right. And so we got a Bender too.
Yeah.
And we, Montreal Canadiens. So we got to give it to one of our buddies down in Montreal. And it is our good friend, Brendan Gallagher.
I'm a Bender.
What a little snot. Scores 2 goals today. He scored like 2 goals all year, I think, last year.
Yeah.
Scores 2 goals against the Bruins. He's Marchand's buddy. Two apples that didn't fall far from the tree. But Gallagher's just a little snot. He's been there forever. He's on the 4th line.
Yeah.
He's hanging on by a thread, but for whatever reason, he's and they haven't really played much playoff hockey because he'd be the typical playoff hockey villain, like pain in the ass, you know.
Tell you, he gets up when he sees the spoke B. He plays well. He plays well against the Bruins. He does.
He really does. He really does. And he scored 2 tonight, but wasn't enough. So the Bruins get the win.
Take that.
Take that, Brendan Gallagher.
Yeah.
Kind of like that comedian with the watermelons, Gallagher. Remember that guy? Smashing watermelons. That's what I think of when I see Brendan Gallagher all the time.
Yeah.
Guy smashing watermelons. Week ahead, the Bruins will take on the Los Angeles Kings Saturday at 1 at the Garden, and then a rematch with Florida on Monday at 1, back-to-back matinees. And then on Wednesday, they head out to Colorado Wednesday night, 9:30 Eastern. It's a tough little stretch right here.
Yeah, it is a tough stretch. And actually, Saturday and Monday, make sure you catch us on Bruins post-game live.
Yes, Bruins post-game live.
Bruins Benders post-game live. We'll be there after every game, hopefully, most games.
Yeah.
And there it is, delivering in-depth analysis, fan interaction, and more immediately after every Bruins game, live on YouTube, X, and Facebook. So feel free to jump in the comments there. We read off fan comments and interaction and have a good time with you all. So join us after those games, and then a late one after the Colorado game. So
that'll be midnight probably, just hanging out. Hopefully after a win.
Yeah, that'll be a little Benders After Dark. We're gonna get a little
Benders After Dark. We're gonna have to get the bourbon back out.
Yeah, we're gonna get the bourbon out. Matt's gonna be half naked. Maybe we'll get Crab out there. Streaking around Canada in his Fanatics jersey. So just join us for that one. Should be a good time.
Yeah.
And
that's the one shot for every goal.
Oh yeah, we're doing
We'll do that. We'll do that Wednesday night. We'll do that Wednesday night against Colorado. Every goal against, a shot.
We're doing a little drinking game.
Yeah, let's do that.
So we're doing shots for goals against. So
yes,
get out your liquor and join us. And hopefully the Bruins have a shutout because I got to work early Thursday morning.
Hopefully, get a little.
And if the Bruins give up 6 or 7, I'm going to be feeling it bright and early on Thursday morning. So. Yeah,
it'll be Wednesday night. Bruins Benders up all night.
Wow.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. Buzzing into work.
Maybe
might be taking a sick one that way.
Yeah, taking
Hey, head to the Bruins Benders page on InsideTheRink.com. Go to shop. Go to Bruins Benders, and if you'd like to support the show, get some merchandise. Use this QR code right here on your screen if you're watching on YouTube. All sorts of good goodies on there. And go ahead, other teams in the league as well, in the Inside the Rink shop page there. So go ahead and take a look at that, InsideTheRink.com. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, we're going to have some in-game sales and stuff like that. If there's any particular player that strikes our fancy, scores a hat trick, that kind of stuff. So we'll have some in-game sales, some flash sales during the game. So make sure to stay with us on Twitter and X, and we'll announce that stuff, during the games.
Sure. Hit the subscribe button on the YouTube channel here. Like and follow us on social media or at Bruins Benders on X, and leave a comment of your thoughts. We also do, of course, the post-game live. That'll be the next one will be Saturday, right after the LA Kings game. And if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, then you get an entry into the giveaway from Inside the Rink. It's a giveaway of an NHL jersey of your choice from Fanatics. All you have to do is be a subscriber to the YouTube channel. So the Bruins are 1-1. They get a win over the hated Montreal Canadiens, 6-4, after a loss to Florida. Tough stretch coming up. We'll be there with you. Until then, as always, go Bruins.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.